Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Susan, and today I want to share with us a detailed tutorial on how to actually make this shirt and this 180 degrees flare skirt. I'm going to let you know how to go about it. The folding is going to be beginners friendly, so if this sounds like what you like to learn, stay on the line guys. Let me use this opportunity to thank my returning subscribers. Thank you so much guys for your support. I really do appreciate. And if you're just seeing this channel for the first time, please do well to subscribe. The next picture you're going to see after this video, you're just going to go ahead to post it because all the calculation I've already written them down. So go ahead, this is the picture, go ahead and post it and digest it before you actually continue with the video. So this is me just folding this fabric into two. So I'm going to fold the length, which is, so after calculating everything, you actually add 43.8, and that's exactly what I'm going to cut out here. But I'm going to cut it out on fold, guys. It's going to be times 2 of that. So this is just me cutting it, and I'm also confirming it. So when I was done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut it so I can keep the remaining fabric separately. So after I was done doing that, I'm going to fold it again in a triangular form. This is a triangular flat, half flat. So I'm going to fold it in a triangular form as you have seen me doing. You can see, so first you fold it and then you fold it in a triangular form. So this is exactly what we've got. So from the calculation, which I'm sure you've already digested and you know the meaning, so our radius is actually 10.8. so that's exactly what we are going to be using across all points there. That's what we are going to be using. So from the tip of this fabric where you have the ankle, from the tip, that's where you're going to go ahead now round to make sure you have this radius. So that is it. And after that, you're going to go ahead and connect the lines together. So this 10.8 that we have here is actually our waist measurement plus the allowances that we have, which I'm sure you've seen from the picture that I put for you. So from that place, I'm going to go ahead now to take my length. The length of this skirt is actually 31, but I'm going to 31 plus 2 for seam allowance. So I just went ahead now to start my measurement -2 for band. I have to -2 for band because I'm actually using 2 inches band for this skirt. So you can see how I place my tape. My tape is away. I started it from 2. So from 2, I'm just going to take my length, the length and plus 2 inches allowance. That is exactly what we are going to take. It's going to be 33. Remember, the length 2 inches is already outside. So that is exactly what you're going to do for your skirt also. So guys, the thumbnail is actually a long skirt, but the owner of this dress only has 3.05 yards of Ankara. So I'm just trying to manage it. So she actually asked me to make a 3/4 version of it. So it's actually a 3/4 version of it that we are making. But if you want yours to be as long as the picture on the thumbnail, you're just going to increase it to your desired length. It's the same thing. The folding and everything is the same thing. So that's it. But maybe you actually need to join. So this length is actually very okay, so there is not going to be any joining, and this is because this is a half circle flat. If it was a full circle flat, you definitely join. So this particular flare is not going to give you that much flare as the full circle flat, so it's just going to be all right. Like, it's not going to be too much. You can actually use this type of flat if you want to manage your fabric or you don't want it to be too big. So that is it. So after I was done connecting those lines together, I went ahead to cut them. So right now that we are done with this, you can see this is what we have. We actually have four together is four. So exactly what we are going to do right now, because this particular skirt is going to have a pocket, that means there is need for us to divide. So number one, I'm going to go ahead now to divide this edge first. You get what I'm saying? So I went ahead to divide this place, and I'm going to have two pieces of this. I'm going to have two pieces, which is going to be for the front and one is going to be for the back. Look at it. So one is for the front and one is for the back. However, at the back we are going to have a zipper, so that means there is need for us to cut through another one. So I'm going to keep one aside and I'm going to use one to cut again, so I'll have two pieces for the back. That's going to be for the zip allowance, and this is going to be two. The sides are going to be for pockets, and I'm going to add my zipper at the back of this. So this is it. So I now have two pieces for the back. So one is for the zipper and the other one I'm going to use it for the front. There is no need of us tearing that one apart. So this is how it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead now to place this on my lining and I'm going to cut it. We're actually done for the skirt, so I'm going to go ahead now to cut it. I want to use a half lining. If you have enough lining, you can actually use full lining, but I want to use half lining. The reason why I'm using lining is because if you do not use lining, maybe when your client is walking or you are walking, the fabric, the ankara might be entering through their tiles. So with this lining, is going to be separated. So that is the reason why I'm going to add a lining to my own. So after I've already gotten the waist measurement, I just remove it and I'm taking the length of 24 inches, beg your pardon, 24 inches, and I'm just going to cut. Then I now place it back so I'll have exactly the same shape. So when I was done, I did the same for the back side. You can actually double it four, like you can fold four and cut at once, they are the same thing. So I place the back on the front and I'm just going to cut it so I'll have exactly the same length. Let's go ahead now and cut the pocket. So the pocket opening is going to be by 7 inches and the down is going to be by 9 inches length. So I just went ahead to draw these lines across and I just trimmed this because I don't have enough fabric actually, so I'm going to use lining, but I'll add first into it. So from that down, just come up by 1 inch and then connect, and that's your pocket. It's as simple as that. That's your pocket. When you have that four corner, you just place your hand to make sure that your fingers are going to enter inside the pocket. So guys, that's it for the pocket. I'll keep it aside. I'll use that particular one to cut another one. It's going to be 4 pieces. So this is our blouse. I want us to go ahead now to cut our shirt. You know, before you make a shirt, you have to keep your button allowance. So this is my button allowance. I'm keeping a button allowance of about 2.5 inches. This is what you're going to use in adding your allowance for the button and your buttonholes and all of that. So just stick 2.5 inches and then fold it inside. These are not going to be part of our measurement. You can go ahead and notch it so you would know. Let's go ahead now and take a measurement. So I'm actually using neck width of 2.5 inches. I don't want to use 3 inches yet. If you use 3 inches, at the end of the day it might be wide. So this is a shirt, so I'm going to use 2.5 inches for now. Then I'll come down at the front. I'm coming down by 3 inches for our neck depth. the 2.5 inches I use, if it's when you're done, if it's not enough, when you measure it, if it's not enough, you're going to expand it. So I just use my curve roller right now to curve it. So this is our neckline for the front of our shirt. After that, I'm going to go ahead to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I'm going to add half-inch allowance for seam. So that's exactly what I did. From there, I'm going to go ahead now to take our armhole measurement. I'm going to take armhole measurement of 8 inches also. That's a shoulder divided by that 2. So I took that half inches also. So at that point, I'm going to just make sure that I have that 8 inches, so I can go ahead now to draw my straight line. When I was done, I'm going to go ahead now to slope the shoulder. Even if you don't slope it when you're making a shirt, a bustier, when you're making a shirt, is actually compulsory. You must slope your shoulder for your shirt. If not, it's not going to give you what you want. So when I was done, I just measured what I have here for the armhole, and I'm going to increase it by half inch. Yes, I'm going to increase that half inch. I'm going to increase it by half inch. You know, this is a shirt, so I don't want it to be tight, and this particular shirt on our body is not really that tight, so I don't want it to be that tight. So that's exactly what I did there. I just increased it by half inch, and now I have about almost 8 inches, which is fine. So I look for the midpoint of my armhole, and I'm going to come in by half inch for the front armhole, because our front armhole is always deeper than the back armhole. And I'm just going to go ahead now to connect from the top of our armhole. I'm going to connect it with that half inch, and that is going to be our front armhole. Yes, I just connected it to give us that front armhole. So after that, I'm going to go ahead now to take our measurement. So from shoulder to our bust point, and from our shoulder to the under bust, and from our shoulder to the length of this particular crop top. Yeah, it's a crop top, so it's not supposed to go down. It's supposed to be short, like it's supposed to be at the waist, or at most 1 inches above the waist, or whatever you want. So I went ahead to draw the lines together, and after that, I'm going to go ahead now to take a bust measurement. A bust measurement divided by 4 is, and plus 1 inch for seam allowance. You can actually do 1.5 inches, but I don't have enough fabric, so that is 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. Our under bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch also for ease, and plus another 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'll come here and I'll take our waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease, and plus 1 other inch for seam allowance. So after that, I'm just going to connect this other one down to the aim line. You can see, guys, the length of this crop top is actually 19. I added 2 inches at the down part, 2 inches, because there is a big folding there, so that big folding is going to be okay for me. That 2 inches is going to be okay for me. By the time I'll fold one, then I'll fold again, it's going to be thick, just as it is on the thumbnail. So I'm just going ahead to connect these measurements together. So that's it. So after that, I just went ahead to notch where my allowance is, and I'm going to go ahead now to cut everything just like you've seen. So I want to, because this is a shirt, there is going to be an overlap, very important. So very important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to minus this is just a simple way of making a shirt, you get me? So I'm going to minus 1 inch out of my front measurement, and that 1 inch I'm going to replace it at the back. Yeah, so because a shirt has to overlap, I just use this simple method. There are other methods of making a shirt, but I think this is a very beginner friendly and it will still give you what you want. So I just went ahead to draw that line. So I have already removed that 1 inch as you've seen there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put ½ inch again for joining allowance. So I'm going to put ½ inch again for joining allowance. So what I'm removing is 1 inch, because I'm going to this ½ inch I added, I will still use it to join the back shoulders together, so it will still fall back to that my 1 inch that I remove. So do not be confused, guys. So that's it. That's why I had to do it this way, so you will understand better. Free my mind in a good time, no comment. So when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now to cut from that allowance. That's where I'm going to cut from. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead to cut from that allowance, and when I'm done cutting from there, I'll also cut the neck out. So I went ahead now and I'm going to cut the neck. So when I was done cutting the shoulders, I'm going to go ahead now to cut the neck. You can see how I'm cutting it. I am not adding that button allowance to it for now. I'm just cutting just a neck. I'm just cutting the neck. So this is it for the front pattern of our crop top shirt. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? At the down part of this shirt, we are going to come up by 1 inch and just connect it, just 1 inch. Yeah, that's just so that place will just be like, that place is going to be flat, as in it's not going to be folding. So that is just the reason why I had to remove, and so there will be a little shape. So guys, this particular fabric is not enough, so I'm going to be managing it. So I do not want to put you guys through all of that. That is why I'm going to draft the back pattern on a pattern paper, and I'm going to transfer it on anyhow I want it to be. I first transfer it to a black fabric. I didn't really like it. It was not really giving me, because this fabric is actually 100% Ankara fabric, cotton fabric. So I actually use a senator material because I use it for a man. So I just bought 1 yard, so I wanted to manage it. So after I use it, it wasn't giving, so I had to remove it. So I just use I shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I added ½ inch for seam allowance, and also the neck depth line is actually 1 inch, and the width is 2.5, same as the back. So the front and the back neck width is the same, 2.5, while the front neck depth is 3 inches and the back neck depth is 1 inch. So this is me just going ahead now to mark my armhole and my shoulders. This is just basically everything we did for the front. This is everything we did for the front pattern, guys. So but there are a few things I want to let you guys note, so that's why I'm just repeating it. So I'm just going to, for the back armhole, there is not going to be any coming in, so I just connected it like that with my curve ruler. And after that, I'm going to go ahead to take bust measurement divided by 2 plus 1 inch for ease and plus 1 inch for seam allowance. I'll do the same for the underbust, 1 inch for seam ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So for the waist also, I'm just repeating, is everything we did for the front. That's exactly what we are doing for the back, guys. We're just repeating everything just like that. That's the reason why I had to make it fast, so we'll not waste our time. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead now and work on this as shoulders actually. So what we are going to do, this is our shoulder, guys. So you remember that we remove 1 inch from the front. So that 1 inch that we remove from the front, you're going to replace it here at the back, plus ½ inch for seam allowance. That's going to be 1.05. 1.05 is what we are going to increase up here. So I will just go ahead now to mark 1.05 across all the lines. That's just what I'm going to do. I'll just stick 1.05 across everywhere. After that, I'm just going to connect it that way. So that is it. We now have our shoulders, and the shoulders is going to be dropping at the front side. With this, is going to balance very well. So this is me just making sure that I have my 2.5. You can see I'm just making sure that my 2.5 is intact. That's 2.5 that I took for the neck depth. So when I was done, that is it. I'm just going to go ahead here to connect it. Yeah, so after that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Guys, please, if you watch this video to this point, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, please turn on the notification button so you'll be notified whenever I post a new one. And I'm just going to go ahead now to show you how it's going to overlap. It's going to overlap this way. So I'm going to use this particular pattern to cut on the fabric that I'm actually using. So just go ahead to use it to cut on your own fabric. You can see how it's falling, it's overlapping. That's how it's supposed to be. So this is where we are going to come to the end of this tutorial. In our next tutorial, we are going to be stitching it, joining the pocket, and making the crop shirt. So please do well to subscribe and turn on the notification button so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. I have a video of 360 degrees flared in this channel, and I'm going to drop it on the description box. It's also going to show up when this video ends. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please like this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.